Welcome to African Woman on the Move. Today I'm with Portia Gana, who is a phenomenal woman from Canada.
Yeah.
And she's been living in Ghana for a few years, and she's doing some really great things to impact the Ghanaian community, as well as she's an entrepreneur. So we're going to talk to her a bit about what she's doing here in Ghana. Thank you for taking the time out, Portia.
Thanks for having me.
Of course, of course. So introduce yourself, what you do, what brought you to Ghana.
I basically do a lot of things. Mainly, I have an African print clothing store. I'm wearing one of my sample pieces I just designed.
What's the name of the clothing store?
It's Avor Atelier.
Avor Atelier.
AHVOR. Yeah. Avor means fabric in ever. So I wanted to incorporate my culture, my identity into. I do it in everything I do, really. So I wanted that to be a forefront in my clothing store. Mm-hmm. So I mainly focus on made in Ghana, African prints, but with a modern twist, for street style. And I'm getting into more of a high-end style as well. Mm-hmm. So that's been a interesting ride and adventure. And then I also have a nonprofit organization. I was doing it kind of under the radar for a while, and then the beginning of this year, I just decided to go all out and do it official and make it big and grandiose. And I also do travel and tour and entertainment, dabble in the entertainment industry here and there.
Yeah.
So yeah.
Okay, so I want to first start off talking about the clothing line that you mentioned, and incorporating your Ewe culture. My father's side is Ewe, so I'm half Ewe, and half a Chim. But as far as the Ewe culture, a lot of times people who are not from Ghana don't really know much about Ewe culture because mainstream media, pop culture about Ghana tends to talk more about the Ashanti culture, or the Akans in general usually get spoken about more than any other group.
Yes.
And so what is it that you want people to know about the Ewe culture that you really bring out in your designs?
I think that Ewes are very fashionable, very colorful, even though our things like our kente are not as grandiose as the Ashantis are. We still like to dabble in a lot of color, dabble in a lot of just like classy style. And I know, like, the Ewes are, in a global sense, are more of the quiet, subdued tribe, or that's what is projected, but that's not really the case. We're just as fun and flashy as the Ashanti, but the Ashanti is just overpowering.
Right.
So it's just all that's just what it is. We're just as fabulous as all the rest. So I want to show that, like, there are some fabrics that that you don't really see much that I'm trying to get. I'm trying to get more of the traditional prints. My friend was trying to explain the color. He went with me to try and buy some fabrics, and he kept telling them, I want fabrics. And they were just like,
Yeah, they're confused.
They're like, what is he talking about? It just means, I guess we like more earth tones and more classic things.
I do see the differences in the Ewe Kente versus the Ashanti Kentes, and actually there's this debate about who actually created Kentes. I know that the Ewes will say it was Ewes who created it, the Ashantis will say no, it was them who created it, right?
The Ashantis created their version of it, and their version became the popular version, but that doesn't mean that you originated it.
Okay.
So there's the difference.
Okay. But I do like some of the colors and the designs in the Ewe Kente's
Yeah.
a little bit more than the Ashanti ones. The Ashanti ones, it's just become so common
Yeah.
that it's almost like you know, when someone buys something that's a trend and everybody has the same thing.
Yeah.
And I'm not knocking it. I'm just saying that I like
Yeah.
to see something different, and I think that the Ewe ones are different than what
And
people
it's
usually see.
so common that most of the mainstream clothing that you actually see online, like it's mostly Nigerians who have gotten this Ashanti kente printed from China and are marketing and are selling it worldwide on a global market, and it's not coming to Ghana, it's not even coming to the Ashanti people, but it's just such a mainstream pattern now, that specific kente. So that's why I like the Ewe, and it's more versatile, I think,
Okay.
because it's a little bit more. Well, not all of the prints are subdued, but generally speaking, it is.
So, what is it that you are inspired by the most when you create? Like with this dress that is one of yours. What inspired you to create this particular design?
I had something similar to this. That was just a plain fabric I bought on one of my many.
Your shopping escapades?
I actually bought two different colors because that's how bad I was. Yeah, and I had never seen it again, and I'd always wanted to get something like that. It's just very simple and functional, and and although it seems simple, it's actually the zippers make it a little bit technical.
The zipper detail.
Yeah, because of the way it's sewn in. But it's just so simple and can fit a wide variety of people. Like, that's one of the things that I really think of in my designs is about the fit, how it can fit a real woman. Because something I realized is, well, in Ghana at least, the tailors don't actually think to that extent. Like, they will just get a measurement and fit it to that measurement. And women are this, in the morning I'm bloated, in the evening I'm not. Like, I may gain 5 pounds this month, I may lose it. So I want the clothes to be able to mold to a person,
Okay.
and to adjust, and they should be able to wear it long term or anytime and feel great no matter how their body is reacting that day. So like something like this, it has like an elastic waist. So if I get this big, it doesn't matter, and it'll still be flattering, and it's just lightweight. So just simple little details to make it cute, but that's just what I always think about, how to fit someone during their transitions, and how comfortable they'll feel in it. So I'm all about comfort and like versatility.
Okay. So what's your website or
My
Instagram page if people wanted to
my website is
purchase?
avor.com, ahvor.com, and my Instagram, Facebook is Avor Atelier. So Atelier, Atelier.
Okay.
Atelier means creative space. So that's basically essentially what I wanted this store to be, a fabric creative space. So yeah.
Now, moving on to something you're doing that's a positive thing that I absolutely love, helping young girls in Ghana, because there are disparities when it comes to even the basics
Yeah.
for young women. So, talk about your nonprofit and exactly what you're doing to help girls.
My nonprofit currently is doing a few things to help girls. We started off the year helping newborns in need. I focused on the Upper West region because I had another foundation that I partnered with that was there, and I noticed that the rate of teenage pregnancies there was high compared to the percentage of women there or teenagers there. So I thought I would help out with that. And there were a lot of babies that unfortunately they get detained in the hospital because their moms can't pay the bills, and most of their moms are teenagers.
Oh,
Yes,
that's awful.
it's terrible. So I just decided I have to do something. So I started, first I was just using I was using the proceeds from my store to actually pay for all their needs, the bills and the meds and everything else after. And then I started thinking, okay, so why do they have such a high rate? And I was asking questions like, why? Why is it like that there? I don't understand. And then they told me the most basic thing, that a lot of these girls don't have access to sanitary pads, to menstrual hygiene goods, or to even like things like toothpaste and stuff like that. And so they get taken advantage of there because by the men around them, because they'll go to them and to get those goods.
Really?
And so they like exchange, so like
So they
the
exchange like
sexual
favors
to get
pads?
basic things, basic amenities.
Okay.
And also because in some girls, they're in rural areas, they think, but being pregnant, then you're not having a period. 9 months
Not
of no
thinking
period,
that
you have a
to take care of a
baby
child, a human
after.
being.
Yeah, and they have, and that region is where a lot of the kayaye, the girls that headquarters in the market come from. So it's a cycle of abandoned children, and so that's like what they know. They can just have the kid and drop it, have the kid and drop it. So like it was just the most like odd things that were the cause. There's like lack of education, lack of basic hygiene resources. So I was like, okay, and they said that, well, this one foundation said that she did notice, because she's a nurse in that area, and she said that when she would do the programs and provide sanitary pads and have little conversations and educate them, it would drop. The
rate of
teenage
pregnancy
rates would drop, but then she didn't have the resources to be upkeeping that, and so then it would go up. And then it would drop. And I was like, wow, we need to actually look into this. So I decided, at least for the next year, I'm going to do what I can to provide sanitary pads and period poverty, because that is what it is. It's period poverty, and it's just crazy how period poverty causes so much that we don't even realize.
Yeah.
So I wanted to track it and see how it affects the rates, and also to find sustainable ways for people to handle their menstrual cycles over there, so that it would have long-term sustainable resources for them, and see how that goes. And then hopefully that can be used in the other regions, because there's other areas too with high teenage rates, but just there the percentage is more than their percent of.
Right.
So yeah, it's just been crazy. Yeah, like when you're in your position, there's so many things, privileges that you don't even realize you have.
Yeah.
And then you're in the city here, or you see these these young girls in the market, and you're looking down on them too. Like, why are they here, and what? And it's because someone couldn't afford 5 CDs, $1 or for something, and went and did this, and then couldn't take care, and like it just trickles down to so much. And there's even a senior high school reached out to us that their students don't have access to the pads. It's boarding schools. So, and they also have, they have a few students who are even kaye who come to Accra to do the kaye work, and so they wanted help because it's a crisis. So I said, okay, I'm going to get that, get you guys your pads, and then see what we can do from there. So next week I'm going to go to the Upper West region and do my first donation. I want to provide every 3 months sanitary pads for not just the students in that senior high, but as many of the young girls in that area as I can. So then we'll go from there.
That is really, really, it's heartbreaking
Yeah.
to know that there's girls who are not getting access to the things they need. And then I think that what you said something really important, which you talked about with the education piece, that when those sessions happened, the numbers went down,
Yeah.
and then when they weren't, then it went back up. So it's like we need this constant cycle of education regularly, because when it's ingrained in their minds, then it becomes like habit to really have that knowledge. And then even if they know and they have a little sister, they can talk to their little sister about it, and then it just becomes a cycle of teaching. So with the pads, so is this your first donation that you're doing?
Yeah, this is going to be my first donation that I'm going to do. So far we've raised enough to provide for the next 3 months pads for about 250 girls, or unless we cut it down to 2 months. But so we're still raising funds so we can get more. The high school students are 100 girls. So we've got them covered, and then we're now trying to get more, as many as I can.
Yeah.
So that, because a lot of the girls too don't go to school either, and some people, I didn't even know that this was still a thing that was happening, that girls skip school during their periods.
Yeah, it is happening not only in Ghana, but in so many
everywhere.
Developing countries.
Yeah.
Even not even just developing countries. I was having this conversation with somebody yesterday that even in countries like Canada and the US, people who are in poverty, like if somebody's in a family that maybe they're on social assistance or welfare, as some people refer to it, and you have a limited amount of money you can spend, most of it will go on your rent, and then your food, and then if you are going to school or work, your transportation, then you've got like nothing left to buy pads.
Yeah.
You know, so it's a serious issue.
Yeah, when I was doing research, I found that it was actually UK and US had the highest rates of period poverty, and I was so
the US
shocked.
And the UK have the highest rates of period poverty.
Yes, and it's even a lot of middle class, because the system there is more of marketing and a facade. So there's a lot of working middle class women who can't afford pads, and they don't go to work during their periods, and then a lot of girls don't go to school, and I thought I would get a third world country in my bias as a top.
Of course, because that's what we're taught. That it's always these developing countries that are impoverished and don't have.
Yeah. So I saw that big companies like Always had programs for America and UK and the developed countries where they're helping try and end period poverty, but not in the third world countries. So I'm going to try, the long-term goal is to look into some local companies to see what we can do to make even like the reusable ones, or to get investments, or their corporate social responsibility to help end period poverty, or do their best they can.
Yeah. Have you started reaching out to local companies yet?
I haven't yet.
Okay.
That's going to be my next venture. Yeah, I'm excited. I can't wait. I usually don't like the fanfare of giving.
Yeah.
With all the previous things, usually with my foundation, I pick one foundation that kind of goes along with my goals, and I work with them for a year, and then I do another. So I worked with one company that was providing water. There was an American-based one year, and then I worked with a Canadian-based one that was doing education. So we went to give laptops to the school, and recently I was doing another thing where I take on a small clinic and try and help them get to a higher standard and revamp them, give them things they need. So that's
really
one of
good.
my major campaigns that I'm going to be doing, but it's ongoing actually. Okay. So yeah, there's a clinic close to my grandpa's village, and I went there and I was like, this doesn't even qualify as a clinic, and they needed. I asked them to send me a list of the things they needed.
I'm sure it's a long list.
The list was everything.
Yeah, I believe it. I believe it. Because when I used to host a TV show on maternal health and why women are dying in Ghana still, and we went to some clinics in some areas, it would be like, what? And I remember there was one in the Volta region. I can't remember the name of the town. It was in the Upper Volta area, which is now divided. Now it's the OT region. And that place there was no doctor, there was only a nurse, and then there was an older man who helped the nurse, and he's not anybody who's a medical specialist, but he's been around it for so many years that now he knows a lot of the things that they need and what they need to do.
Yeah.
And they didn't have anything either. Like, they didn't even have something to check people's blood pressure. And so they would go like 2 hours to the next closest proper clinic that had the things they needed. And this was a common thing around the country in so many small rural communities that they don't have anything.
So that's one thing that I want people to get into, because everybody waits on the government to do stuff, and you can't do that. Like, that's one of the things I learned in Canada. Like in Canada, everything sort of functions, or like somewhat smoothly functions, because of not just government involvement and private involvement, but also private citizens also get involved. Like, there's a big sense of volunteering that we get taught there. That I want to try and bring here. And it's like your resources, your time, or your financial capabilities, like, we're taught to give our stuff. So I want us to do that, and that's the only way that we can get things done. Otherwise, places will be neglected. And if you try and even do paperwork to request something in the government, that's gonna be how many years? A new government's gonna come in place and forget about it. So, like, even the most basic things like office chairs, they were sitting on broken chairs. So, like, I raised money. I didn't even know office chairs were that expensive here.
They are.
I was really shocked. Yeah, so I raised some money one year for my birthday, and then I went to buy them the office chairs, and I just dropped it off and ran away. They're like, no, wait, come take pictures. And like, bye. And then I got them a washing machine, because all the dirty linens from the hospital, they were washing by hand. But the washing machine, they didn't let me go without taking pictures. And then they reported, it was the biggest news in their area. It was all over the radio. I was like, oh my gosh, no. But
they really appreciate it.
Yeah, so I've been trying to get them things like hospital beds and things like that, but they really need everything.
Okay, so you're raising money for that as well?
Yeah, raising money, or if you actually have the physical items, that would be better to go and send to them. And even that has been a hurdle. Some people tried to bring in hospital beds, but they wouldn't.
At the port?
They wouldn't clear, the government wouldn't give any kind of clearance.
That's really unfortunate.
Yeah. Because I have friends in the medical field in the UK, and they said every 3 years they switch out the hospital beds there. So they're like, they give them away, you can take them, but then we would have to raise money for shipping and clearing. And we shouldn't be paying to clear these items because it's in
Medical need.
dire need.
Yeah.
And so I don't know, something we could try and look at. I don't care if the government takes credit for it, but as long as it gets done, and as long as they like help us get it done. Because even with this northern region, and when I was helping with the newborns, something that I've had to be doing even to this day is buying lactogen for some of these newborn babies, which is another thing that I'm going to have to look into with the health of the young girls. But basically, I know in Canada that there's breast milk banks.
Yeah. Oh, really?
Yeah. So mothers with excess milk,
That's right.
they donate, and then people who aren't able to produce, or babies who are orphaned, and babies in the NICU also get the breast milk because it helps them develop faster.
Yeah.
And when I was asking the people here in the medical field, it wasn't just a matter of them saying, we don't have it here. They were listing all the like, what if something happens to the baby? Oh, like all these like negative things about how that's not possible.
Yeah.
And I'm like, but it is possible, and it is working, and it's been going on elsewhere.
Yeah.
So things that are foreign often get welcomed or not welcomed with negativity.
Yeah.
So that's like an issue we have here. So you have to fight to get any kind of change, or you have to work within the system to try and create change, which is very difficult.
Thank you so much for your time today.
Thanks for having me.
And a reminder of where they can donate to you.
Okay, so you can go to the Portia Gana Foundation.org. Ghana is Gana, and it has all the ways to donate. So we accept everything from PayPal to Western Union's World Remits, even e-transfers for Canadians, and mobile money for locals. And of course, physical donations, we accept all that as well. So if you have any goods, if you have anything pertaining to babies, maternal goods, mothers, we collect that. If you have anything for clinics, we collect that. Even things that you don't think of. When it comes to clinic, it's not just medical things. Even bed sheets, stuff like that, they don't have. So we collect everything for babies, mothers, clinics, and young girls who need personal hygiene products.
Great. All right. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Have yourself a wonderful rest of the day because it's Saturday afternoon.
Yeah.
Or morning, I should say. Morning.
Is it
So
still
thank
morning?
you so much for taking the time out on a Saturday.
Yeah, I'm not a morning person.
I'm not a morning person either, but I'm slowly trying to learn to be, because it seems like when you get started early, you're able to get a lot done before you're even halfway through the day. So I'm trying. Yeah.
I think I'll start trying too.
All right. Thank you so much for watching this episode of African Women on the Move. Don't forget to follow African Women on the Move on Instagram as well as on Facebook. And if you have any comments, please go in the comment section below. And you can donate to her. I'll put all of the information in the description box, and pin it at the top of the comments so that you can make your donations to her foundation. Thank you for watching. See you next time.